Hey folks, my name is Brad Martin, and today I am way out in the middle of the woods to do some metal detecting around an old stone foundation that was lived in around the middle to the late 1800s. From what the landowner told me, people have been metal detecting here probably since the 70s. So I'm going to take my time, see if I can find all of the stuff that people before me may have missed that has been hiding underground for the last 150 years. Get my metal detector out, see what we can find. This is an interesting little find. You know, I can't say for sure what it is. I mean, I know what it is, but it's a little brass chain. And my mind immediately goes to jewelry because it does appear as though it was silver plated. Oftentimes the plating turns this brown color. And at the end, we've got one of these little things. Now, I'm not sure what that would have attached to. Glasses, pocket watch, any number of things somebody would have had in their pockets, because I do believe this was worn on the body. Let me know what you think this went to. I'm going to say glasses, spectacles. So I've been spending probably the majority of this year at early colonial sites, and the vast majority of the buckles that you find, aside from the ones that go on people's shoes, are iron, horse tack, oxen tack. Being at a place that's quite a bit later, the buckles are very different. Check this out. Now I would guess that this is horse tack still. But look at the crazy silver plating on there. Looks like, actually look, this here, this is leather left over. So this is made out of some kind of copper alloy, whether brass or bronze, but it's also silver plated. There was quite a few targets right in this area here. Not nice clean high tones, but iron tones. So I'm wondering if there's remnants of a harness right here. So I don't know, we'll poke around here. I don't necessarily need a backpack full of brass buckles, but it's a nice find. So I'm still kind of in the area of that little buckle, and I just, out of curiosity, see what else is here. And I do think that this is more of a harness. You can see here that you've got a cast iron doohickey. A strap would have gone through here and it would have attached to whatever, but I just thought it was interesting. As I was digging this hole, I dug into a brick. And what's always interesting is, at least out here in the mountains of Vermont, you never find standing brick structures. These things were too valuable. They would have carted these out. But, some of them broke, some of them got left behind, got buried, and here they lay. I think I'm going to stop digging up this harness. I'm sure there's a lot of it here. But this is the idea. This is what's on it. More of this stuff. All right, well, I got a pretty nice target. I probably should have gotten the cameras out ahead of time and showed the process of digging and everything, but it seemed very quiet. I thought maybe it was small, like a small button. It's a coin. It's a small cent. It could be a wheat penny. For all I know, it was quite deep, but I'm gonna guess that it's a little bit older than a wheat penny. Let's see. I don't have any idea. I haven't even peeked at it. It's not looking like it's in great shape here. It has a pretty thick crust on it here. One of the most common comments I get, sometimes emails, is that people cringe when you wipe coins with your finger. And I think that that's just a very common reaction to folks who don't often handle coins that have been in the ground for over 100 years. There's no amount of scratching this coin that's going to make it worse. This is not a collector's grade coin by any means. So what I'm gonna do is work on this with my toothbrush for a minute, see if I can get this thick crust off. Maybe we can figure out what it is. All right, well, I've been working on it for a while. I'm not sure what it is. I am assuming that it's an Indian head penny, but there's really no indications of a bust. This side you can see, a circle of some kind. Maybe it says 1 cent in the middle there. Maybe it's a token of some kind. Hard to say, but It is certainly an old coin, and that's a good sign, especially for how early it is in the day. Hopefully we can find another one that we can actually identify out here, maybe even with a date. That would be nice. Let's see what else we can find here. Well, as I had mentioned earlier, I've been spending the majority of this year at very kind of early home sites. And if I had found one of these at one of those places, I would have been very excited. But based on where I am today and when people lived here, I don't think that what I have in mind is what this is. Although I could be wrong. But I thought I would mention it just in case anybody out there finds anything like this. Essentially what it is a piece of lead, long and flat, that's been bent over. And in the early days, folks would pinch a piece of flint in here for a flintlock gun. I think that by the time folks were living here, they weren't really using flint to fire their guns anymore. But I could be wrong. I mean, that very well could be what this is. In any case, you always have to kind of view these things in the context of where you find them. You know, if I found this in my backyard of my house that was built in 1996, I wouldn't give it a second thought, but yeah, you never know. All right, well, the telltale signs of a late 1800s home site, the harmonica. So we have two reed plates here. Unfortunately, this one's broken. It's an old break. What I find interesting about these harmonica plates is a lot of times folks find these metal detecting, they find one, but there was actually always two. And if you're familiar with how a harmonica works, of course you blow out and there's a set of notes, and then when you blow in there's a different set of notes. And if you look at these, you know, air would pass over these holes, and these little brass flaps would be the reed that makes the noise. And when you look at this, if you blow this way, these will flap. And if I flip this over, you can see that the reeds are on the other side. So when you would breathe in, this side would flap. Oftentimes, well, 99.9% of the time, there's no manufacturer or anything on these plates. It would have been on the wood on either side. But it's still cool. Extremely common find for places this age. They were cheap, easy to play, and folks went through them pretty quick. So, not that long ago, I found a piece of lead, and I was hypothesizing if I found it at an older place, there's a pretty good chance to be part of a flintlock gun. And I just found a piece of a gun. It's not a piece of a flintlock, but it is certainly a firearm. You can see it in the hole here. I knew it was going to be iron, but it's been a little bit slow. I was like, let's figure out what this thing is. And I pulled it out by my finger here. And you can see it's the lever to a lever action. And it is in pretty good shape, aside from not being attached to the gun anymore. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to figure out what gun it went to, but you can see that it was a lever from a lever action gun. And now a lot of times at like mid-1900s, early 1900s homes, you'll find things like this, and it'll be a toy. I can't imagine this is a toy. This feels solid. So cool. I'm gonna stick around this immediate area, see if I can find more pieces of it. But you know, even if not, that is a great find. Super happy about that. Alright, well I got another iron tone, and I just found one of my favorite things to find at a place like this. You know, this was a working farm, they were hard-working people here, self-sufficient, and I just found a hand tool. And it's a hand tool unlike one I found before. I believe that this is a punch, so it would have been held and then striked with a mallet, although it doesn't look like it was an iron mallet because it's not mushroomed over. It was likely a wooden mallet. And I can't say for sure what they were using this for. The end seems to be in pretty good shape, so maybe it was like a nail set, although it seems a little bit big for that. But in any case, I'm going to get this cleaned up. It looks like it has some nice faceting on there, where it would have, been made by a blacksmith, maybe even the folks that lived here for a specific purpose. Pretty interesting. Pretty good shape too. Well, I just got an extremely loud target, and I thought for sure it was going to be garbage. And I suppose to the original owner, probably is garbage, but this appears to be, well, it's hard to say if it's the front or the back. I'm going to say the back of a pocket watch. Whenever I find something that's kind of shaped like this, I'm on the fence whether it's going to be a pocket watch piece, or they had these things on the sides of horses' bridles back then. Folks call them bridle rosettes, and I'm fairly certain they covered like a junction point of straps and stuff. But it's usually full of lead, and there's like a little doohickey back here that would attach it. I'm fairly certain this is a pocket watch piece. Pretty cool. The most exciting ones for me, aside from precious metals, of course, are ones that have monograms or writing, any writing whatsoever, so that we can figure out exactly when it was made, where it was made, all that stuff. This doesn't look like it has any of that stuff, but still, somebody carried this around in their pocket for years and years, I'm sure. Interesting to think about. Well, I got a target. Well, let me back up. Right over there, it seems like somebody came up here with an AK 7.62, and they shot off like 50 rounds right over there, which is fine. Everybody has fun in different ways, but they left their shell casings on the ground, so they're everywhere. So I thought that that's what this was going to be, but I'm far enough away, I was like, I'll dig it just in case, and it's a coin. It's an Indian head penny. Looks like it says 1900. It's interesting, the place that I am right now, nobody's lived here probably since before this was made, but people travel up here for hunting, hiking. Back in the 1800s, coming up and picking fiddleheads and berries was a pretty popular pastime, so who knows, maybe somebody, since the building disappeared, came up here to have a good time and lost their Indian head penny. It's a beautiful spot here. We're right next to this little stream. I'm gonna inch closer to that pile of shell casings, but I'm not gonna dig all those up, that's for sure. All right, folks, well, I'm gonna call it there. The targets were slow pretty much all day, but the last hour, 2 hours, I haven't found anything. So everything that I found today is out on this log. Let's take a look at it. There's more there than I thought there was going to be, so I think we did pretty good. Okay, so considering, I think that I did pretty good today. You can see from this pile here, I did dig a lot of iron, and it paid off a couple times. Starting from the back, I got a couple big iron spoons. This I did not show, it's just a little brass tube. Could be anything, not sure. This is also a piece of long brass with a hook on the end, not sure. In that little area where I believe there was a harness lost to the ground, I did find this plated buckle, this hook, and 3 of these small iron buckles as well. Have the punch, a ferrule for the end of a wooden hand tool. The handle would be wooden, and then the rest of the tool went up through here. A little spigot. This, I am quite excited about it. I sent it to some friends, and they all agreed. A piece of a gun, a lever action rifle. Next to it, a piece of folded over lead. Is it from a flintlock? I'm not sure. I only found 1 button today. The folks that have metal detected here in the past must have found a lot of buttons, because typically these farm communities lose a lot, and I only found 1, so either they are really good at sewing buttons on, or they've already been taken. Piece of harmonica reed, pocket watch, and out front, pair of coins. Indian heads, I believe. I'm not actually sure about this one. It might be a token of some kind. And then our little piece of jewelry, whatever it may be, a little chain of some kind. All right, folks, well, I'm going to hike on out of here. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If this is the first of one of my videos that you've seen, I post one of these every single Friday, so if you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe to see more. See you next time.